Welcome to Heather Sells NYC with your host, Heather M. Cooper. Each episode is focused on helping people navigate through the intricacies of buying and selling real estate in New York City to get the greatest value. You can find this show on all the major platforms, including YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on our website, heathersellsnyc.com. Now here's the host of Heather Sells NYC, Heather M. Cooper.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. I so appreciate it. I am delighted to introduce Mark Foley, who is the co-founder and Chief Negotiator of the Folson Group, New York City's leading business consultancy for co-op and condo boards. Mark helps co-ops reduce expenses and project and manage their buildings' many projects, allowing them to free up their valuable time. His insights are invaluable in today's dynamic real estate landscape. Welcome, Mark Foley. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Heather. That's quite an intro. Hope I can live up to that. You've definitely done your homework.
Of course you can. Absolutely. So we are going to ask you a couple of questions about you and about your business and how you got started. It's so interesting, the Foley Group. Anyway, so to lead into it, how did you end up in the co-op and condo worlds?
Sure. So the Folson Group, which is a take on Foley and Larson, my partner Tina Larson, her last name, we kind of got started by accident. Both of our backgrounds are in finance. We're business analysts, 25, 30 years. And suddenly I found myself as the president of my co-op board. And we just applied the same principles we use to analyzing a business as we do the building, because running your co-op or condo board, running the building is running a business, and it needs to be looked at that way. So long story short, we were able to cut expenses by about 10%. At one point, we ran 7 years straight without raising maintenance in the building, actually increased reserves, built a gym, landscaped roof garden. So I was bringing people into the building, real estate people such as yourself, showing them the building, trying to gain interest because you want people looking at your building, obviously. And they would say, gee, I wish you could be on my board, ha, ha, ha. And my partner, Tina Larson, was getting this kind of the same thing, going to finance events. And they'd say, well, what else do you do? We know a lot of finance people. We said, well, I helped save my building 10%. They'd say, really? So we got the idea to start a consultancy, completely happenstance by mistake, by demand, really, by popular demand, as they say. And we realized that there's nobody out there that's doing exactly what we do, helping co-op boards run their building, run it like a business.
That is so true. I have not seen any other company, any other organization that is doing what you do. And I am so confident that so many of my current clients and future clients will be so grateful for you.
That's great. And what we find is that there are people that work on, let's say, just your electricity or just your water, one small aspect. Again, as business analysts, we look at the building as a business. We look at every single line item. How are you performing here? Are you spending over benchmark levels? Are you renegotiating contracts? You mentioned the negotiator. Many people or many buildings have contracts that they may have inherited from a previous board, going on 10 years that have automatic increases. They may be paying double of what they intentionally began or what they even should be paying, and they're not even aware of that. So we provide significant savings for buildings. And as you know, particularly, if you're able to lower your monthly costs, that increases your property values. So you're actually adding into your own bank account.
Yeah, I think that's very attractive to condo and co-op owners because it's always about the bottom line. If if they pay $4,000 a month, and you can minimize that bottom line down to 3,500, and then they could actually utilize their cash for something else, it's certainly quite attractive to me.
Absolutely.
I can't imagine that anyone would say no to your services. Has any condo or co-op shareholder said no?
Surprisingly, yes. Now, the interesting thing is that we don't take an upfront fee. We work on a shared savings basis. So we only get paid if you make money. There's literally zero risk in hiring us. And there are some people that are either, well, it's too good to be true, or they say, well, we couldn't save any money. We look at things so well, there's no savings. We have never gone into a building where we haven't found some savings. And, an example we like to use is that Fortune 500 companies bring in consultants every year. They're run very well. They have some of the smartest financial minds in business, yet they'll bring in a McKinsey or somebody like that every year to try to find an extra 3 to 5%, because that affects their bottom line directly. And they'll pay millions of dollars for that. We're doing it only on a shared savings basis. And we can often find much more than 3 to 5%. We find even 5 and 10%. And again, why, that's money out of your pocket every single month. You talked about margins, I think, and we say that all the time. It's all about the margins. It's 2% here, 5% there. We found line items where we've saved as much as 30, 40, 65%.
Wow.
Now, I don't care what the dollar amount is. Why would you want to hand somebody that money? This one example that a board member used with me once, he said, and I said, we can increase your property values. He said, well, my apartment's worth $1.2 million. That's pretty good. I said, well, if somebody offered you 1.4, would you take it? Or would you say 1.2 was good enough? And, it's kind of amazing, somebody's mindset. And if you live in a building and that person is on your board, you should really think about running for the board yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, all of these things just make sense. I mean, why would, a co-op board engage McKinsey company and spend millions when they can engage your company and they don't have to pay outright? Right?
You're preaching to the choir.
Right, absolutely. I mean, I totally see your value and your company's value.
I mean, look, you're a broker. You've got a lot of experience. Would you ever be in a situation where you're selling someone's apartment, you've got a price listed as 1.2, and they said, we'll give you 1.4. You said, oh no, 1.2 is fair.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants the most amount of money for their apartment. I mean, we know that. No one's just going to take, the asking price of 1.2. Sure. I mean, obviously every situation is case by case, but the bottom line is that, the more money, the better. So that's certainly where you come in.
I mean, for many people, their apartment, their home is one of their largest assets. So, you need to protect that, treat it as such. And, you want to grow that as much as you can. And, people have said that, a lot of people spend more time planning their annual vacation than they do looking over their finances, or in this case, working on their building. So people need to be aware of that. And we try to help raise awareness as well.
No, I think it's so important. I mean, have clients looking at apartments. I mean, some are more savvy than others, but for the most part, 100% of them are looking at the financials. And if there's an assessment, I mean, I think what you're doing can certainly prevent assessments from happening, and certainly prevent, and actually give more reserves in the building. So
absolutely,
it's a win. It's a win-win, as you know. So do you work in the tri-state area?
We do. So we actually can work anywhere. Mostly what we're doing is, working with numbers. Most of our business comes from the area just because that's where we're located, word of mouth, et cetera. We do have agreements with people marketing us in Chicago and Southern Florida. So, again, we really can work area, but yes, the hub of our business is the tri-state area, specifically New York City, and there are tens of thousands of buildings, so it's a target-rich environment, as I said.
Right. There certainly are all over the tri-state area. That is right. And let me ask you, what are some other common challenges that co-op and condo boards face?
Sure. So, well, right now, with inflation coming back, everything, every expense, every line item is going up. Particularly insurance. Insurance premiums are increasing by, in many cases, double digits. Cost of construction, if they're refinancing, interest rates have gone through the roof. We can help them in all these areas. Insurance in particular, we are not insurance brokers. We partner with people. We've been able to save buildings as much as 40-45%. One building, we saved a little bit over $120,000 on their existing premium.
Wow.
So that's, again, that's real money. And, we look at every single line item. Again, where our background is business analyst. So we're looking at every single line item. There's nothing too big or too small. When a politician tells you they're looking at every line item of a budget, they're lying. When we tell you we're looking at every line item, we are, because that's how we get paid. That's how we save money, and we only make money if we save money.
Right, exactly. There's certainly incentives there.
Sure. And now local law 97 coming up, many buildings are going to be hit with huge fines for, not reducing their carbon output. We're helping a lot of buildings with that. We can help people change their letter grade. We brought one building that was a D. I think their number was like a 31. And we helped them make some changes. We helped them file correctly. And they got an 87, and they're now a B, and they will not have any fines starting in 2025.
Wow, that's amazing. A lot of people don't know about local law 97. I think it's becoming a lot more prevalent now. I know that, a couple of clients were talking about it and were nervous about it. So what is it exactly? And when is this already in effect for buildings, or will it be in like another year, 2 years?
Sure. So Local Law 97 is the Climate Mobilization Act, and it necessitates a building be carbon neutral by 2050.
Oh, that's a long time. Okay.
It's a long time, but the fines will begin in 2025.
Okay, that's soon.
And the benchmarking is based on 2024. So buildings have 3 months now to get in compliance. Many buildings have been caught unaware. There's a big rush to do that. For whatever reason, there just has not been a lot of knowledge or expedience in the industry. We can't figure out why. We spoke a couple of months ago with a well-known real estate lawyer, and he said, "Yeah, I really don't know a lot about Local Law 97."
Wow.
So we said, "Well, we'd like to tell you about it, because you work with 100 buildings. That's a lot of money in fines. Buildings are facing as much as $100,000 a year in fines."
Wow. And when will they start getting fines?
It was supposed to be 2025. There are now bills before the city council to push that back 2 years, so that if you're in the process of working on projects that will reduce your carbon output, they will give you a 2-year reprieve. But that's literally going on as we speak. So it could be 2025, could be 2027.
Okay. So it's definitely on the horizon.
It's definitely on the horizon. It's not going away. Now, whether the goal of it is to electrify buildings. Now, whether or not the building has the city has enough electric capacity, and spoiler alert, we don't. That's what they've decided. So that is coming into play. There is no way around it. We have heard of buildings say that, well, we can't afford these retrofits, so we'll just pay the fine. It'll be cheaper in the long run. And number one, that's not necessarily true. Number two, we have spoken with some industry lawyers, and they believe that the shareholders or the owners, if it's a condo, would have legal recourse against the board because they're violating a law. Local Law 97 is a law. And if they're willfully breaking the law, the shareholders they would likely win in a lawsuit, and the board would probably not be covered by their D&O insurance because, again, they intentionally broke a law. So we're telling buildings, you really need to do the work. The fines are exorbitant, but the work is going to bankrupt you, or rather, the results will bankrupt you. But you need to do the work.
So this is for all buildings, even the smaller buildings, the walk-up buildings with only 20 units, or is it only?
So not right now. Right now, it is buildings of 50,000 square feet or more.
Okay.
So it's for mid-size and up. Eventually, they will be getting to the smaller buildings. There will be incentives. Like everything, it starts out with a carrot and it ends up with a stick.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better to be proactive. It's also, look, you're reducing your expenses. Excuse me. When you make these changes, you're using less electricity, you're using less water. All of those are good things. It's good for the environment. It's good for your pocketbook.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I haven't seen the letter grades on the smaller buildings. So the letter grades are only on the buildings that are 50,000 square feet.
That's correct.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And what are the biggest challenges with what you do? I know co-op boards are certainly not easy. That I know from my huge board packages, but you're on the front lines.
That is correct. So the dynamics are interesting. There are many people are on their board because they want to make a difference. They want to serve their community. They want to be a well-run and efficient, as I say, business. There are some people who are on the board, and I'm sure you see it a lot. They're on the board because either they have nothing to do, they want to be important, or they want to get their kitchen and bathroom renovated. And we see that a lot. They're not interested in doing any extra work. There are some cases where someone is, the president or the treasurer, and they get very defensive and they say, well, no, look, I'm smart. I know what I'm doing. I don't need anybody looking over my shoulder. To me, if I'm also the president of the board of my building. If you come to me and said, I will look over everything you're doing for free, and if I find something you may save money, I'll say, here are the keys.
Yeah.
I don't have an ego when it comes to money or savings. Again, it's all about margins. So it's trying to really motivate boards, and we try to explain to them a lot of what we've been you and I have just been talking about, how important it is to run your building efficiently. The value in it, not only just the monthly savings, but how that increases your net worth because your property values are going up. And it's also, personally, it's very rewarding when people do come up to you and say, hey, thank you. We appreciate, the maintenance didn't go up this year, or, we really enjoyed this amenity that you people put in. We know it's a lot of work. Oftentimes they'll start out and say, I know it's a thankless job, and I say, stop, you just thank me. That's great. And, it's very rewarding, and we always recommend people, if they want to help their building, and by help I mean run better, save money, you need to get on the board, and you need to be proactive and not just wait for somebody else to do it.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I know that some clients, after they went through the purchasing process, they said, I'm going to bring you on the board. and one of my clients is actually on the board. So they
Terrific.
really make a difference after that big thick board package.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, not really. No. I'm sure that you've reviewed tons of them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so where do most people come from? Where do they get referred to you by people in your building?
So we get a lot of referrals that come from previous clients who've been happy with what we've done, have recommended us to other buildings. We also get a lot of referrals from social media. My partner runs the social media aspect. We have a big presence on LinkedIn, both as the Folson Group and under my partner's name, Tina Larson.
Mm-hmm.
And we put a lot of information out there, and it's just try to be interesting, try to be engaging. We give a lot of free information. We're not trying to sell anybody, and people get engaged and they say, well, why not?
Absolutely.
And from what you do, I mean, you're one of the leaders in your industry, and it's about getting your name out there so that you're always top of mind. So when people, not everybody's buying or selling, but when they do, you want to be in the top of their mind. And we find social media a good way to do that.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm on social media as well, and I certainly see both you and Tina on social media. I mean, it's all about bringing value to
Absolutely.
To everyone. So I think it's great. And so is there anything? What type? Oh, I forgot to touch on this. What types of projects do you touch on besides saving boards money and buildings money? What else is your bread and butter?
Sure. So there are two other areas we work in. One is we help buildings if they're not able to work with their property manager. We help them find a new managing agent. We work with them, we interview them, find out what it is that they really need. It's a 60-day turnkey project. We do all the interviewing, pre-screen. Building does a final interview. They choose, and we work with the transfer. All this within 60 days. Now, there are sometimes people say, look, we don't like our managing agent. We say, why? And we find out that there's really a disconnect, and it's a lack of communication. And we've actually worked with buildings where they wanted us to change the managing agent, and we ended up almost in a counseling session and worked with them together. They end up keeping the managing agent. They're very happy. So we do that. That is a fixed fee. We also do project management. So many buildings don't want to overextend their managing agent. The managing agent is there to run the day-to-day operations, the administration of the building. So we will do everything project management wise, from hallway renovations. We've done roof repairs. We've done elevator replacements, and we're able to use our partners. We often get better pricing. One particular job that stands out is a building was replacing 3 elevators. They had a dedicated elevator consultant. They got 3 bids. The lowest bid was $750,000. We went through with one of our partners, walked through the whole thing, walked through the specs and the bidding, and we got the same vendor to come down to $504,000. Savings of almost $250,000. Same job, same vendor.
Wow. And
that's when my wife started calling me the negotiator.
The chief negotiator.
The chief negotiator.
I like that. That is really great. And so we talked a little bit. So basically, the types of clients are the shareholders and the condo owners that really benefit with their bottom line.
Absolutely. The ultimate beneficiary are the people who may not even know that we're working with the building. The individual shareholders and owners. We work with boards. We're always interested in meeting board members. If there are any board members who are looking to run their building more efficiently, we'd be happy to speak. And yeah, we always tell them, it's like, look, you get a chance to say, hey, we saved X amount of dollars this year, or we're not raising maintenance this year. You're going to get people thanking you, and our goal is to make you look like a rock star in the building, and have those people come up to you and be happy at the annual holiday party.
Absolutely. And then to have you invited to every single holiday party.
And if we can save them money, we're happy to go.
Yeah, because that everyone has friends in many different buildings throughout New York City, and I'm sure that's you get a lot of your referrals, right?
That's right. And if I can do a shameless plug, my partner wrote a book. It's called Living the High Life: How Smart Co-op and Condo Owners Protect Themselves and Their Investments.
Wow.
Is that coming through here?
It's hold on. Now a little bit closer.
Well,
now it is.
There we go. Anyway, you get the point. You see the main.
Yeah.
The cover, Living the High Life. You can get it on Amazon. It's a lot of tips on how to run your building, and it's a lot of interesting stories. It's not just a list of mundane and dry industry jargon. It's very entertaining. The foreword is fantastic. This guy Mark Foley wrote it. So no, but it's got a lot of tips. It's actually a bestseller on Amazon. It's
a bestseller.
It's a very easy read. We recommend it. Heather, I'll be sending you a copy, and
I can't wait to read it.
And this is something that you don't have to be on a board. Any owner, and hopefully it'll inspire them to maybe work with their board.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that book will be value add for anyone thinking about buying in the future. Is a current owner. Absolutely. Why not? What else? So as a chief negotiator, what would you say is one of your biggest hurdles in your role?
Sure.
Is it difficult? Sorry, it's a two-part question. Is it difficult to get in touch with the co-op board, or to get meetings with them?
It can be. If somebody says, here's a number to the president of the board, or here's their email, I think you should contact them. A lot of times they don't take it well. They say, well, hey, what are you doing? Or, what's going on here? A personal introduction is always better. And it's better if you have spoken to the board member and say, not in a hey, you guys are doing a great job. Do you know that there's a service that can help you? They're professionals in the industry. They've been doing this for 10, 15 years. Would you think it'd be interesting? Might be able to help you save money and make you guys look good to the rest of the building. That's a way to do it, as opposed to, hey, you guys stink, bring in someone else.
Right, exactly. I can imagine board members getting a little bit defensive, and certainly taking it personally, which is not, you're here to serve, and you're here to save them money, not saying that they're not doing a good job.
Right. And in their defense, board members get a lot of complaints. Every time they're walking through the hallway, somebody's coming up to complain about something, ask something. It's nobody stops a board member to say, hey, fantastic, love that.
Right, exactly. I mean, board members certainly spend hours, probably a month, and multiple days during the year, and they do deserve some gratitude sometimes.
Absolutely. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that the owners don't see. Most board members are working very hard, do have the best interest in mind, and those are the people we want to meet. The ones that are most involved and are probably doing the best job are actually the ones that we work best with.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, this is really amazing what you do, and Tina as well. And how can we get in touch with you?
Sure. So you can email us at info@thefolsongroup.com, all one word. You can look us up on LinkedIn, Mark Foley, Tina Larson, or you can call me direct, 917-648-8151, and we'd be happy to have a conversation and see how we could hopefully save you hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I hope so. And if somebody wanted to have a consultation with you,
free consultation?
Oh, wow. That is great. That should be a great incentive to save some money. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time and you sharing about the Folson Group, sharing about yourself and Tina and how you save co-ops and condos hundreds of thousands of dollars, and know that Mark can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if you have any questions, concerns, please feel free to reach out to him. Thank you so much for joining. And
Heather, thank you. It's an honor to be here, and you're one of the leaders in your industry, and I'm proud to be on the podcast.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your coming. Thank you.
You've been tuning into Heather Sells NYC with your host, Heather M. Cooper. You can find more episodes on all the major platforms, including YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on our website, heathersellsnyc.com. Thank you for your positive reviews, comments, questions, and for sharing this show with others.